VBK asked me to help him figure out how to memorize origami. Now, origami is when you take a piece of paper, fold it, magic happens, and you get a boat, dinosaur, bridge, whatever it may be. And so I'm going to explain whatever comes to my mind on how to do it, kind of a live thing, because I have no clue. But hopefully this helps VBK out. So let's get started. So the first thing is have a memory palace. You have steps. Step 1 of 7. And so to me that always indicates have a palace because a palace keeps the order of things, right? So first location would have the first step. So that's the first thing I know. Now let's see what's next. Okay. Oh man. So I guess in origami you have different paper styles. You know, this one's a rectangle. I think some of them you have squares. And so you would probably want to remember that it's a rectangle for a boat. Maybe a square would work, but I'm not an origami expert, so I would just kind of stick to whatever I'm given in this article. So the first location would have a square of some sort, or it could be even like a sub location, okay? So the palace itself would represent a boat. So maybe I see a boat on top of my house. That lets me know, oh yeah, this is going to teach me how to make a boat. Now, the first location, or like a sub location, would be maybe the front door. So let's say maybe like the entryway is literally the first location, but the door, I picture like my house and see the door kind of like a eviction notice. I would picture a piece of paper, just like this. If it was a square, maybe I would picture a cube or something because a cube is made up of squares, right? And so this is what I would do to remind me, oh yeah, this is the shape of the paper, all right? And then when I open up the door, boom, that's where the palace actually starts. Okay, so you fold this piece of paper in half, then you fold it in half again, and then you unfold it, apparently. Okay, so for me, it seems like there's a visual aspect, right, of the actual folding, but then there's the kind of directional aspect, right? Like, oh, you have to fold it in half. So for me, since this is kind of like the first location, this is what I learned, a hamburger fold, okay? Taco goes like that. Hamburgers apparently go like that. And so hamburger, and then we have a taco fold. So maybe at the front door, I see this hamburger and it throws up tacos, okay? And then, okay, so then the hamburger starts to eat the throw up tacos. So that lets me know to undo the taco fold, okay? And so I'm trying to combine some of the visual aspects with the actual like kind of directional stuff that would be right here, right? Because I can't just have all of these like kind of pictures already on the screen in the actual locations, because over time they're gonna kind of just kind of mash up into just kind of hands and a piece of paper folding in some way. And so I would love to be able to kind of just like take this, boom, put in location, boom, put in location, kind of just like, you know, kind of copy and paste the picture. But for me, that doesn't really work. So I need to have these images that kind of just represents what's going on. Now, of course, when you actually go through the directions like I'm doing right now, you're making a connection between your image and what it actually looks like. So I might not even remember what the color is or the hands or anything like that, but somehow I will remember the fold, okay? So that's what's working for me, what seems like it would work, okay? So then we got that. Boom, second location. So here you're folding into a triangle shaped thing. All right, so you're making a triangle from the two corners. And I guess this one you just kind of turn it around, I guess. Okay. Yes. So, okay. So two triangles from the corner. So what I might picture is, oh man. So you have to make sure you know what sides it's coming from. So let me go to this picture right here. So that's from here to here, here to here. Yes. Here to here, and it's not here to here, right? So there are four corners you have, but you want to do it from one of these sides and not this big side. And so that's important to keep straight, right? Especially if you're doing origami from memory, you have to do all the folds correctly or else it's gonna suck, okay? And so, okay, okay, we got to fold from the long side. So um, maybe I picture a giraffe, and a giraffe is tossing, I don't know, triangles at a snake. Snake represents two. Triangles, that's what we're doing. We're making triangles. And so for me, that covers this part right here. Because the giraffe represents do it the long way, okay? We're making the triangles from the long part. Now, for me, it makes sense. For you, you might get confused. You're like, wait, from the long side? But that's the wrong way because you have to come from the shorter side. That's true, but for me, I'm like, okay, so the triangles are gonna be the longer ones, all right, are being folded from this side. And so for me, it makes sense. For you, it might not make sense, and that's okay because you have to use whatever's gonna work for you. So for me, that makes sense. And I'm just kind of just going, making stuff up right now because I want to show you what happens when you're trying to memorize something. You have no clue what you're trying to memorize. I have no clue. But then the next step is to like fold that one flap from this side up. So you're covering the triangles. So I might see the snake getting hit by triangles, but the snake picks the triangles up, puts the triangles in bed, and covers them up. So that means, get that one rectangle flap and cover up the triangles. Boom. See? You see how that works? Because this side actually has the triangles. The other side would just be one triangle, right? Would just be on one side. But this has a flap. This side has the flaps on it. And so now the covering up would let me know that I cover it up like this picture. And so as you can tell, I probably don't have to go through the whole thing, but I just wanted to show you kind of what I would do. But as you can tell, you're just trying to find anything that represents the actual folds. If you could use the fold itself, like if you use one of these images in the location, do it, because then you actually have that object in the location, so you know if your paper doesn't look like it, it's wrong. And so let's see if there's anything. Okay, so something like this. Maybe I picture a diamond, because for this part. But maybe see this. So the diamond is kind of set in this red V right here. So maybe I picture what's it called? A staff. Okay, a staff, and there's a diamond in it. Boom. So maybe that's what I would picture, right? Or maybe I would just picture this whole thing. So it's kind of up to you. Or maybe you could picture a staff, but on top of the staff is this. And so you're using the picture, but also your own image to kind of make it stronger. And so that's the whole process on what I would do for every single step, because I have no knowledge on origami. But here's the thing, if you do know about origami and all the different folds, guess what? There are probably some basic fundamental folds. Something like maybe these, and so you can make a memory system for these things. Okay? So if it has to look like this, you can make an image for it already. So when you see that image, you're like, oh yeah, it has to look like this. You directly, so for me, maybe I would say like it's a, what's it called? A sail on a sailboat, okay? So in a location, maybe it's at the laundry room and I see a sail sticking out of the washer. Oh yeah, that lets me know the paper has to look like this for step number 3. So if you know origami, you can save so much time because you can make systems for some fundamental things. Now, I assume there are some specific folds you have to do for specific things. Of course, how else would you get different items? But they're like so specific, it doesn't make sense to make a system out of those or add those specific folds to that system. But hopefully you can see why you would want to make a system for some basic fundamental things, because it goes so much faster when you're trying to memorize all these different origami folds. But yeah, so that's pretty much the whole thing. The whole process would just kind of repeat itself for every single step over and over and over until you actually get a boat. I think that's the boat. Get that bad boy right there, okay? So yeah. So hopefully, VBK, this helps you out, but hopefully it helps anyone out too, to kind of show you what goes on in my mind when I'm trying to memorize something I have no clue on. And it's always great to see, how someone memorizes something, because maybe you would do something completely different, like the giraffe right here. The giraffe, because of long neck. might confuse you to do a different fold, you know, which would completely mess you up. But for me, it works. It makes sense to me. And so it's okay if you do things that make no sense at all to anyone else. Like if I were to explain this to someone, not with pictures or anything, just like, hey, this is what I would do. They'd be like, okay, wait, I'm folding this side? No, that's the wrong side. But to them, it would make sense that this is the fold you're talking about. But for me, it meant something else. And so that's why usually whatever you come up with that works for you, it's okay if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. Because as long as you're able to do what you're meant to do with information, man, that's success in my book, right? So yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this video.